Hey YouTube, my name is Steve.
Today we're going to be working out the grounding issues in this guitar that I have here. If you didn't catch my earlier video, please check out the links in the description box down below. Now, this guitar has a lot of grounding issues, and I'm not exactly sure what it was. I love the way this plays. I love the way it sounds. Dan did a terrific job at musical mechanics. But yeah, I'm getting a lot of noise. Maybe it's because I switched to tube amplifiers. Maybe that has a little something to do with it. But today we're going to explore my grounding issues. Now, I've read a lot on the internet about copper tape. And the whole purpose of the copper tape is you connect to your ground system, and that creates essentially a Faraday cage to block out electronic noise from other sources, such as your lighting and electrical work that would come through. I'm even getting noise on the clean, so I know there's a problem with the ground. The first thing I'm going to do is take out the strings and start taking this thing apart. Take a look at what we got on the inside. Now, I figure since I'm going to open it up anyways, I might as well try this copper tape stuff. Now, this is my first time looking at, messing with, or playing with, in any form, copper tape, but it felt extremely familiar to me. It felt familiar to me because in grade school or junior high, I can't quite remember about how long ago, but you know when you would buy like the double mint gum or like the juicy fruit, and they would come in that foil outer wrapper, and then once you chewed your gum, you took that empty wrapper and you kind of balled it up a little bit until the foil layer came loose, and you separated that from the like wax paper layer, and then you would stick it on things until you made a big shiny surface. Why would you do that? What else did you have to do? I don't know if you guys did it, but I definitely did do that. And that's pretty much what the copper tape feels like, or at least how it handles. Of course, it's in larger chunks, and because it's on the, since it's made to be removed, it's not all bunched up in your hands. So here I go on to start doing everything in pieces. Now, this first time that I tried to stick the piece on the sidewall, I stuck the piece first and then I cut it, and I quickly realized that that is probably not the best way. And so what I started doing after this one is I started approximating the size with my eye, and then I would cut it. And if I was a little short, I'd just take another piece and cover that. So the copper tape that I'm using does have conductive adhesive, so as long as it's stuck onto another piece of foil or under another piece of foil, or however you want to say it, as long as all the pieces of foil are touching, even though they're touching through the adhesive, there is an electrical connection there. So I'm going to go out throughout the entirety of this video to shield the cavities with this copper tape. Now, while exploring the grounding issues, I figured out what was actually wrong. So if you watched my first video, you know that the bridge had to be moved to adjust for the change between the 24 3/4 inch scale length to the 25.5 inch scale length that Fender uses. So the bridge was moved, and that was moved by the guy. They're no longer in business anymore. They were called Any Road Music in Winnemucca, Nevada. Typically, when you ground the system, what you do is you run a wire from the post of your bridge into the control cavity, and that way that wire is touching the bridge and connecting to your bridge strings and tuning heads and all that. And as long as you're touching the strings, it completes the ground circuit. Now, as I continue throughout this, I'm putting in the copper tape because I didn't know that when Don moved the bridge that he did not connect the new bridge to the grounding system. And I've had this guitar put back together for roughly 9 or 10 years, and because I never used this guitar in live situations, I never really noticed it. I would use it in my bedroom at bedroom volumes, but the first time I tried to take it to a live situation, luckily it was a practice, and I realized all of that noise that was coming through, there was a problem. So I'm also going to shield the cavity covers as well. Here I'm about to shield the pickguard. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention with how I've been using the copper tape, but the last thing I want to do is waste any of it. So as I cut off the excess here, I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it right around and put it back on the inside of the cavity. This is where it really started feeling like the outside of the gun wrappers, because it started bunching up when I tried to shave it off the side, and I had to really spend some time to smooth it down. And here we have the completed pickguard. Now there's still a little bit more shielding to go on down there, and I take my time to cut out small pieces that I think would fit. Since the guitar was already wired, it was pretty much a real pain to get all of these little pieces in there and try to get them to fit between the wires. Frequently throughout this video, you will see me using both my screwdriver and the back end of my knife to kind of tamp down parts of the copper wiring. Now, copper tape isn't the only way to shield your cavity. You could use conductive paint, lead-based paint basically. If you're in certain states, I guess it's harder to get a hold of than others, such as the infamous California. Regulations on everything. I fortunately am in Nevada and did have the choice, and I chose copper tape because I don't like making messes. Or at least not paint messes. They seem to be a bit harder to pick up than a piece of foil that falls on the ground. Now I wanted to make sure not just that small control cavity, but also the cavity behind the pickups are shielded as well. And in my follow-up video, because I did not complete this project at the end of this video, in my follow-up video you will see me fix that ground issue that I didn't discover until the very end of this one. Now, throughout this whole thing, I'm kind of surprised I didn't stab myself with my hobby knife. Not that I'm completely inexperienced with hobby knives, but you know, I was going at this kind of quick, and I would just set down the hobby knife next to the roll of copper tape. So, if you're a clumsy type of person, you should probably set it back in its little holder every time you set it down, just to avoid cutting yourself. These knives are super sharp, and it'd be quite easy to accomplish that feat. Now here I zoom in, and you will see this is the lace deathbucker. This one had about 5,000 ohms of impedance. Now I did screw it back in, but I forgot to zoom out the video before I screwed it back in, and so the whole process of me screwing it in was completely off camera. And here we go with the bridge pickup, getting that shielded. So at this point I was, not that I was starved for entertainment, I was actually watching this TV show before I got up, but I did take a little bit of a break, and when I came back I moved my iPad a little closer. On the iPad I am watching Psych, and I believe this is season 4, that you can see currently on there. I'm rewatching the entire series because if you haven't seen Psych before, it's absolutely hilarious, and right now it's on Amazon Prime Video, so if you are a Prime member, look that up. Now, not everything is done yet. Once I'm finished with the bridge cavity, I still have the main control cavity to pop open and start working on. And then of course when I take a look inside that control cavity is when I realized that I didn't have the wire coming through from the bridge. Now, the proper way to fix this would be to pop the collar out where the bridge pin goes in, and then run the wire from there into the main control cavity. And typically there is a small hole drilled so that you can pass that wire through. Now, because this bridge was moved, that small hole does not line up with the bridge pin. So in my next video, I will actually be taking a wire. I'm going to actually run it through the front of the guitar. That's why I didn't do this all as one video. I ordered in the wire. So I'm waiting for the black wire, and I'm just going to run it right through the front of the guitar. I'm going to drop a little glob of solder on the top of the bridge pin and run it down into the pickup cavity, just that little short distance. So from any sort of distance, it'll be pretty much impossible to see, because it will be the same color. And you know, even if you're looking at the guitar really close, it's going to be hard to see. This isn't a guitar that I intend to ever sell or get rid of. So, you know, doing a kind of a half-assed repair, that's my deal. I'm going to live with it. You know, maybe eventually I will gut the guitar and then drill that hole in. But in order for me to drill that hole in, I have to do just that. I have to gut out the entire control cavity just to be able to get the right angle in that cavity to get that hole to line up with the bridge pin. So that's something I really don't want to deal with. But if you stay tuned for the follow-up video, I will actually go over how to properly do it, but I am also not going to do it that way either. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody, thank you so much for choosing my channel. If you would like to subscribe, please click up here. If you would like to watch my latest guitar video, please click over here. If you would like to watch my latest piano practice video, please click here. And if you would like to watch my latest outdoor/mountain bike video, please click here. You have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.